and we'll keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries, 100 ocean mysteries, looping softly, endlessly through the night. Tonight we'll drift through the midnight zone where sunlight dies and pressure shapes life. Bioluminescent creatures signaling in total darkness. Ancient seafloor scars left by vanished super tsunamis. There's nothing you need to do now. Just let your body sink. Heavier, heavier. Feel the mattress holding you. Every muscle softening. Your heartbeat slowing. Thump, thump. Matching the rhythm of space itself. Shoulders melting down. Jaw releasing. Each breath pulling you deeper, deeper into the calm, the quiet, the dark, if this helps you rest. Tap subscribe, comment, and hit like, so others can find this calm too, but only if your eyes are still open. Otherwise, just drift. Now, let's drift into ocean. 4 billion years ago, when Earth was still molten, still learning how to breathe, water arrived, perhaps riding on asteroids, icy messengers from the outer dark, or seeping up from the planet's own ancient interior, minerals releasing their hidden moisture, molecule by molecule. The young planet cooled, and the water pooled, gathering in the low places, the wounds and wrinkles of new crust, steam condensed from endless storms, raining for millennia, filling the first basins, the first seas, heavier, heavier, sinking into sleep. The water was different then, acidic, hot, rich with iron that turned it green, then rust red. Nothing like the blue we know, but slowly, so slowly, chemistry shifted, minerals dissolved. The ocean became a crucible where elements mixed and settled, where life would whisper its first words in chains of molecules. Feel your own body, mostly water, mostly ocean, carried inside you, ancient, remembering. That early ocean was less salty than today. The salt came gradually, leaching from rocks on newborn continents, carried by rivers that carved their first paths, down to the waiting sea. Sodium and chloride, magnesium, calcium, sulfate, dissolved minerals accumulating over hundreds of millions of years, until the ocean found its balance, its steady salinity, about 35 parts per thousand, 3.5%, just enough to make water heavier, denser, so you float more easily, supported, held, thump, thump. But the ocean isn't uniform, isn't one simple thing. It breathes in layers, stacked by light, by temperature, by the weight of salt and cold. The surface layer where sunlight penetrates, called the photic zone, stretches down about 200 meters, 600 feet, where light still touches, still allows photosynthesis. This is where phytoplankton bloom, microscopic plants drifting, producing half the oxygen you're breathing now, half of every breath coming from the sea. Feel that breath in, out, slower, ocean breathing through you. Below that, the twilight zone begins, the dysphotic zone where scientists venture with lights. 200 meters down to 1,000. Light fades here, blue wavelengths penetrating deepest, red absorbed first near the surface, until even blue light dies, becoming twilight, then darker, darker, like your room now, like your eyelids growing heavy, closing, shutting out the world. Creatures here have enormous eyes, drinking up the last photons, or no eyes at all, navigating by other senses, by touch, by chemical trails, by the pressure waves of distant movement, and deeper still, below 1,000 meters, the midnight zone, a photic, without light, a realm of permanent darkness, where the sun has never reached, not once in all Earth's history. The water here presses down with the weight of 1,000 meters of ocean above, crushing, cold, near freezing, 2 degrees Celsius, 36 Fahrenheit, yet life persists, strange forms, translucent, bioluminescent, carrying their own light in chemical lanterns, flashing, pulsing, like slow thoughts in the deep. The pressure increases as you descend. Every 10 meters of depth, another atmosphere of pressure. At 1,000 meters, 100 atmospheres. At the deepest trenches, over 1,000 atmospheres, more than 8 tons per square inch. Enough to crush human lungs, collapse submarines. And yet, creatures thrive. Their bodies adapted, cells filled with specialized compounds, pressure-stable proteins, membranes that remain flexible, no air spaces to compress, just soft tissue, yielding, accepting the weight, the way you accept the weight of blankets now, heavy, comforting, pulling you down. In the deepest parts, the Hadal zone, named for Hades, depths beyond 6,000 meters. The ocean floor drops into trenches, wounds in Earth's crust where one plate slides beneath another. The Mariana Trench, the deepest known, descending nearly 11,000 meters, 36,000 feet. If you placed Mount Everest inside, its peak would still rest over a mile beneath the surface, heavier, heavier, sinking. At the bottom of that trench, explorers found amphipods, small crustaceans thriving, snailfish with translucent skin, sea cucumbers processing sediment, all living under pressures that should make life impossible. Their cellular machinery redesigned, proteins folded differently, membranes enriched with unsaturated fats to stay fluid, everything soft, adaptable, the way your body softens now, releases, adapts to rest, and in that darkness, light returns, not from the sun, but from within, bioluminescence, perhaps the most common form of communication on Earth. Most deep-sea creatures carry this gift, chemical reactions, luciferin oxidizing with oxygen, catalyzed by luciferase enzyme, creating cold light, blue-green mostly, the wavelengths that travel farthest in water. They flash to attract mates, to startle predators, to lure prey, patterns blinking, conversations in light, thump, thump, like stars, like thoughts fading as you drift towards sleep. The giant squid, Architeuthis, was legend for centuries. Sailors told tales of arms reaching from depths, eyes large as dinner plates, but for generations, no one saw one alive. Only dead specimens washed ashore, bodies damaged, mysteries maintained, until the early 2000s, when researchers finally captured footage 46 feet long, arms extending, eyes indeed massive, the largest in the animal kingdom, up to 10 inches across, gathering every photon in the twilight zone, watching, searching. But there's something larger. The colossal squid, Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, shorter arms than its giant cousin, but far more massive, weighing up to 1,500 pounds, found only in the Southern Ocean, around Antarctica. It possesses hooks, rotating barbs on its tentacle clubs, and those same enormous eyes, adapted for hunting in near total darkness. Very few specimens exist. Most knowledge comes from beaks found in sperm whale stomachs, mysteries within mysteries, the ocean keeping secrets. Let your thoughts become mystery, untethered, floating away. When great whales die, their bodies sink, falling through the water column, taking decades of accumulated biomass down to the sea floor. This is called whale fall, and it creates an ecosystem, an oasis in the desert of the abyss. First come the mobile scavengers, sleeper sharks, hagfish, stripping flesh over months, then crustaceans, polycate worms, feeding on bones, finally, bacteria that digest the lipids inside bones, creating hydrogen sulfide, which feeds chemosynthetic bacteria. The whale fall can support life for 50 years, or more, one death sustaining an entire community. Transformation, release, like consciousness transforming into sleep. Heavier, heavier. In places on the seafloor, where tectonic plates pull apart, water seeps down through cracks, through fissures in the crust. The water heats 300 degrees Celsius, sometimes 400, absorbing minerals, hydrogen sulfide, methane, metals. Then it rises, jetting back up through chimneys called hydrothermal vents, discovered only in 1977 near the Galapagos. A revelation that life didn't need sunlight, didn't need photosynthesis. It could feed on chemistry alone. This process, chemosynthesis, bacteria oxidizing hydrogen sulfide or methane, extracting energy from chemical bonds, building sugars from carbon dioxide. The same result as photosynthesis, but from different fuel. And around these vents, entire ecosystems cluster. Tube worms, 6 feet tall, with red plumes, no mouth, no gut, just bacteria living in their tissue, producing food. The worms provide shelter, the bacteria provide energy. Symbiosis in darkness. Thump, thump, rhythms of exchange, the black smokers, vents that emit dark plumes, laden with iron sulfides, precipitating instantly in cold water, building chimneys. Some grow as tall as buildings, 15 stories, accumulated minerals, layer upon layer. The water shimmers with heat, 300 degrees, yet just inches away, near freezing, creatures thrive in the gradient, at the boundary, the way you rest at the boundary of waking and sleep, crossing over softly. Other vents seep methane, cold seeps, where methane from deep sediments rises, not hot, but rich with energy, different bacteria, methanotrophs, consuming methane, and different creatures. Clams with methane processing bacteria, mussels clustering, white bacterial mats spreading across the sediment, another form of oasis, another way life finds energy in darkness. Feel your own energy, draining away, conserved, settling into stillness. The sea floor itself tells stories of Earth's restlessness. At mid-ocean ridges, magma rises, new crust forming, spreading outward, seafloor spreading, discovered in the 1960s. The Atlantic Ocean grows wider by about an inch per year. The Pacific shrinks. Continents drift on conveyor belts of rock, moving, always moving, but so slowly, slower than fingernails grow, imperceptible, like time passing as you sleep, hours dissolving, unmeasured, forgotten. The oldest oceanic crust found in the Mediterranean and the Pacific dates to about 200 million years ago, Jurassic, but most is younger. The ocean floor recycles, old crust slides into subduction zones, pulled down into the mantle, melted, reformed. The ocean bottom is young, constantly renewed, unlike continents that preserve billions of years. The sea keeps only recent memories, releasing the past, the way you release the day, letting it slide away, heavier, heavier, where plates converge, where one dives beneath another, trenches form. But so do underwater volcanoes, rising in arcs behind the trenches, fueled by water carried down with the subducting plate. That water lowers the melting point of mantle rock, creating magma, which rises, erupting. Most of Earth's volcanoes are underwater, unseen, building islands, building seamounts, mountains beneath the waves, seamount chains, formed as tectonic plates drift over stationary hotspots, mantle plumes, the Hawaiian Islands, a perfect example, stretching northwest, getting older, the big island still growing, still active. The chain extends thousands of miles, becoming the Emperor seamounts, volcanoes now drowned, eroded, submerged, each one an ancient island, now silent beneath the surface, like memories, once vivid, now submerged, beneath the waters of sleep. Some seamounts become gyres, flat-topped, their peaks eroded by waves when they were islands. Then the sea floor subsided, or sea level rose, drowning them. Now they rest below, platforms in the deep, hosting unique communities, isolated, like thoughts becoming isolated, disconnected, as consciousness fragments into dream. The ocean moves, great rivers within the sea, surface currents driven by wind, the Gulf Stream carrying warmth north along North America, then across to Europe, the Kuroshio flowing past Japan, currents that shape climate, that scatter larvae, that guide migrations, thump, thump, rhythms of circulation. But deeper currents move more slowly, driven by density, by temperature and salinity, thermohaline circulation. Cold water sinks in polar regions, dense, heavy with salt as ice forms. That deep water spreads, creeping along the ocean floor, taking centuries and millennia to travel from pole to pole. This global conveyor belt connects all oceans, one continuous circulation. What sinks in the North Atlantic rises in the North Pacific 1,000 years later, time moving differently down there, stretched, eternal, like the night ahead of you, endless. The hours are relevant. El Niño, La Niña. The ocean and atmosphere coupled, conversing, trading heat and moisture. In normal years, trade winds push warm surface water west across the Pacific. Cold water upwells along South America. But every few years, the winds weaken. Warm water sloshes back east. El Niño, changing weather patterns across the globe. Droughts, floods, rhythms of oscillation. The ocean breathing, pushing, pulling. Tides rise and fall, twice daily in most places, pulled by the moon's gravity and the sun's, though the moon dominates, closer, stronger. The water bulges toward the moon and opposite, creating two high tides as Earth rotates beneath. The moon pulls the ocean pulls back, slowly stealing Earth's rotational energy. The day lengthens by about 2 milliseconds per century. The moon drifts farther by about an inch per year. Ancient rhythms, slowing, everything slowing, your heartbeat slowing, breath slowing, thump, thump. The moon, when it formed 4.5 billion years ago, was much closer. The tides then were enormous, hundreds of feet, reshaping coastlines, driving fierce currents, life emerging in tidal pools, cycled between wet and dry, learning to adapt, learning the rhythms of lunar phases. Even now, many marine creatures time their spawning to the moon, corals releasing eggs and sperm on full moon nights, Grunion fish riding waves onto California beaches at the highest spring tides, lunar cycles written into biology, into genes, ancient timing, like sleep cycles, circadian rhythms, your body knowing when to rest, even without light, even without thought. Rogue waves rise from the ocean, monsters. Waves that shouldn't exist according to old theories. Ships reported them for centuries. Walls of water 60, 80, 100 feet tall, appearing suddenly. Scientists dismissed the accounts until satellite data proved them real. They form when multiple wave trains intersect, constructively interfering, adding heights, creating brief peaks of immense power. Waves that can snap ships, unpredictable, though less rare than once thought. The ocean making its own rules, its own mathematics. Heavier, heavier, overwhelming. Internal waves travel along density boundaries, between layers of different temperature. They can be hundreds of feet tall, but invisible at the surface, only slight ripples betraying their presence. Submarines sometimes encounter them, pushed, pulled by unseen forces, the ocean breathing internally, currents within currents, movements you cannot see. like thoughts beneath consciousness, processes running in darkness, unexamined. The ocean is not silent. Listening with hydrophones reveals cacophony, snapping shrimp, louder than you'd imagine, creating cavitation bubbles that collapse with a crack, fish grunting, groaning, using swim bladders as drums, whales singing, their voices carrying thousands of miles through deep sound channels, SOFAR channels, where sound waves become trapped, refracted by temperature and pressure gradients. A whale's call can circle the ocean, heard by others half a world away. Communication without boundaries, without wires, just water, conducting sound 5 times faster than air. Whales speak in frequencies humans can hear, but also below infrasound, below 20 hertz. Fin whales, blue whales, producing pulses so low, so powerful, they can be detected by seismometers, mistaken for earthquakes. These sounds travel farther, absorbed less. The ocean filled with conversations we cannot hear, rumbling beneath perception, like sleep itself, beneath awareness, beneath thought, thump, thump. During World War II, sailors noticed something strange on sonar, a layer in mid-water that scattered sound, the deep scattering layer. It rose toward the surface at night, sank during day. Eventually they realized it was alive. Millions upon millions of small creatures, lanternfish, krill, squid, performing the largest migration on Earth every night, rising hundreds of meters to feed in surface waters, descending at dawn to hide from predators in darkness. A daily rhythm, tidal in its own way, billions of tons of biomass, moving, synchronized to light, to safety, to hunger, like your own body's rhythms, synchronizing to the cycle of night and day, preparing for rest. Coral reefs form in shallow tropical waters, built by tiny polyps, animals related to jellyfish. They secrete calcium carbonate, limestone, building skeletons, generation after generation, constructing reefs over thousands of years. The Great Barrier Reef, visible from space, built by creatures smaller than your fingernail, working in colonies, connected, sharing resources through tissue. Each polyp hosts photosynthetic algae, zooxanthellae, in its tissue. The algae produce sugars, feed the coral. The coral provides shelter, nutrients, symbiosis, cooperation, everything connected, the way your body's cells cooperate, maintaining you, even as you sleep, even as consciousness fades, automatic, reliable. But when water warms too much, stress builds. The coral expels its algae, turning white, coral bleaching. Without the algae, the coral starves, dies. Reefs around the world, bleaching more frequently, struggling to recover between heat waves, the ocean warming, absorbing heat that greenhouse gases trap. 90% of the heat from climate change goes into the ocean. The water expands, sea level rises, currents shift, everything connected, everything changing. But for now, for tonight, Let that dissolve. You cannot solve it in sleep. Just drift. Heavier, heavier. Kelp forests grow in cold coastal waters. Giant kelp, macrocystis, can reach 100 feet, growing 2 feet per day, faster than bamboo. They anchor to rocks, their fronds floating at the surface, creating three-dimensional habitat. Sea otters wrap themselves in kelp to sleep so they won't drift away. Fish hide in the understory. Invertebrates cling to stipes. The kelp forests sway, currents flowing through, hypnotic, rhythmic, like breathing. In, out, in, out. Seagrass meadows carpet shallow bays, not algae, but flowering plants that return to the sea. Their roots stabilize sediment. Their blades slow currents, creating calm. Manatees graze them, sea turtles. Fish lay eggs among the shoots, and seagrass absorbs carbon, stores it in sediments, blue carbon, coastal ecosystems that sequester greenhouse gases slowly, steadily, like sleep sequestering the chaos of day, storing it away, processing, releasing what isn't needed. Mangroves grow where land meets sea, their roots in salt water, adapted. Special glands excrete excess salt. They trap sediment, build land, protect coasts from storms, nurseries for fish, breeding grounds. Their tangled roots creating shelter, darkness, safety. Everything young starting there, growing, moving eventually to open ocean. Cycles of life, beginning, ending, beginning again, where cold deep water rises, coastal upwelling. Nutrients surge to the surface, phosphates, nitrates, from the decomposition below, feeding phytoplankton which bloom, turning water green, murky with life. These upwelling zones, off California, off Peru, off West Africa, are among the most productive waters. Anchovy schools so dense. The water boils with them, seabirds diving, dolphins herding, everything feeding, energy flowing from nutrients, to plants, to animals, trophic cascades, everything connected, like systems in your body, energy flowing, even in rest, maintaining, sustaining. Thump, thump, phytoplankton blooms visible from space, swirls of green and blue, turquoise. Sometimes they're toxic, red tides. Dinoflagellates producing neurotoxin, killing fish, accumulating in shellfish. But usually, blooms mean life, productivity. The phytoplankton producing oxygen, half of Earth's oxygen. Each breath you take, every other molecule, came from the sea, from microscopic plants drifting, photosynthesizing, splitting water, releasing O2. Feel that breath, in, out, half ocean, half land. You're breathing the sea, even here, even now. When phytoplankton die, they sink. Marine snow, tiny particles, flakes, drifting down like snow through the water column, taking days, weeks to reach the deep. Most gets eaten, recycled, but some reaches bottom, feeding seafloor creatures, burying carbon in sediment for millions of years. The ocean sequesters carbon, absorbs carbon dioxide from air, dissolving it, buffering climate change, but at a cost. The dissolved CO2 forms carbonic acid, ocean acidification, pH dropping, making it harder for creatures to build shells, to make skeletons. Another stress, another change, but not for tonight. Tonight just drift, let it go, heavier, heavier. Plastic floats in the ocean, microplastics, fragments smaller than 5 millimeters from broken down bottles, bags, fishing gear. They drift with currents, accumulate in gyres. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Not an island you can see, but a diffuse soup of particles, spread over an area twice the size of Texas. Microplastics found everywhere. Surface waters, deep trenches, ingested by fish, by birds, by filter feeders. Persistent, not biodegrading, accumulating. Humanity's signature in the sea, but let that thought dissolve. You are not responsible for everything, not tonight. Tonight, release, rest. In Earth's ancient past, the ocean sometimes lost its oxygen. Anoxic events, when ocean circulation slowed or productivity surged, bacteria consumed oxygen faster than it could be replaced. Dead zones expanded. Most marine life died. These events linked to mass extinctions, the Permian extinction, the Triassic, ocean chemistry collapsing, then eventually recovering over millions of years. The ocean resilient, but on timescales beyond human comprehension, like sleep resilient, returning each night, no matter what happened during day, darkness returning, rest returning. The ocean preserves fossils, creatures that died and sank, buried in sediment, compressed, mineralized, ammonites, trilobites, ancient fish, their shapes pressed into stone, memories in rock, the history of life, written in layers, each stratum a chapter, the ocean floor, a library, mostly unread, mostly buried beneath the later pages, like your own memories, layered, the earliest ones compressed, transformed into something else, barely recognizable, almost forgotten. Some creatures are living fossils, essentially unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. The coelacanth, thought extinct with the dinosaurs, until one was caught in 1938 off South Africa, a fish with lobed fins resembling ancient fossils. Since then, more found, living deep, near rocky inclines, moving slowly, metabolizing slowly, ancient bodies, ancient patterns, persisting. The Nautilus, with its spiral shell, chambers filled with gas, adjusting buoyancy, has existed for 500 million years. Ordovician, its relatives, ammonites, went extinct with dinosaurs, but Nautilus survived, drifting, jet propelling backward, eyes primitive, no lens, just a pinhole. Seeing the world differently, anciently, simply, like perception fading now, simplifying as waking thought gives way to dream logic, to symbol, to drift. Sharks are older than trees, appearing 450 million years ago, before plants colonized land. Ancient predators, persisting, evolving into thousands of forms, most now gone, but some lineages enduring. They have no bones, only cartilage, so they're fossils, mostly teeth, hard, durable, scattered through sedimentary rock, shark teeth, everywhere in certain formations, millions of them, evidence of ancient seas, ancient hunts, ancient hunger, now silent, fossilized, like hunger fading now, everything fading, heavier, heavier, thump, thump. In the deep, many fish are transparent, nearly invisible, barrelly fish with see-through heads, their eyes inside, looking up through a dome. Larval fish, transparent, organs visible, transparency as camouflage, in water where light is scarce. Anything solid stands out. Better to be nothing, to disappear, like ego disappearing in sleep, the sense of self thinning, dissolving, becoming nothing, just sensation, just breathing, just darkness. Anglerfish females carry males, tiny males, fused to their skin, degrading, losing eyes, organs, becoming just reproductive glands, providing sperm when needed. In the vast darkness, finding a mate difficult. So when a male finds female, he bites, holds on, eventually fuses, their circulatory systems merging. He becomes part of her, dependent, permanent. Strange solution to the problem of emptiness, of isolation. But it works. Life finds ways, even in impossible places. Lanternfish, small silvery fish with photophores, light organs. They're the most abundant vertebrates on Earth, by number. Billions, trillions perhaps, comprising 65% of deep-sea fish biomass. Yet most people never see them, never know they exist. The ocean full of invisible abundance, like stars, like thoughts, uncountable, drifting, disappearing into black, jellyfish blooms. When conditions align, populations explode, filling bays, clogging intake pipes, stinging swimmers. Some blooms natural, part of cycles, others triggered by warming, overfishing, removing predators and competitors. One jellyfish, Turritopsis dorni, is biologically immortal. When stressed, it can revert to polyp stage, beginning life cycle again, never aging and never dying of old age, though predators, disease, accidents still claim them. Immortality isn't invincibility, just continuity, like the ocean, always present, always moving, never truly ending. And you continue too, night after night, returning to sleep, returning to darkness, reliable, eternal in its repetition. Octopuses possess intelligence, problem-solving, using tools, opening jars, squeezing through tiny gaps, their neurons distributed, 2/3 in their arms, each arm somewhat independent, exploring, deciding. The central brain coordinates, but doesn't micromanage. Decentralized intelligence, like sleep, functions distributed, some parts of brain resting, others maintaining breath, heartbeat, processing, consolidating memories. You don't decide to breathe, don't decide your heartbeat. It happens, autonomic, distributed, like thoughts now, fragmenting, arms of cognition exploring different directions, no longer coordinated, no longer making sense, just movement, just sensation, drifting, cephalopods, octopuses, squid, cuttlefish, change colour instantly, chromatophores expanding or contracting, patterns rippling across skin, communication, camouflage, emotion perhaps, their bodies like screens, displaying inner states, unlike humans, hiding, suppressing. But in the ocean, everything visible, everything expressed. And in sleep, your body expresses too. Muscles twitching, eyes moving beneath lids, REM sleep, dreaming, the body broadcasting in a narrative, without your permission, without control, heavier, heavier. Mantis, shrimp. See 16 types of colour receptors. Humans have 3. They perceive colours we cannot imagine. Ultraviolet, polarised light, their strikes, punches, are the fastest movements in animal kingdom, accelerating like bullets, creating cavitation bubbles, so fast. Water boils, creates light, sonoluminescence, violence creating illumination, power, their eyes on stalks, moving independently, seeing everything, too much, sensory overload. But you see less now, less. Eyes closing, colour fading, just darkness, simplicity, relief. Dolphins, whales, possess complex cognition, self-awareness. They recognise themselves in mirrors. They have names, signature whistles. They mourn their dead, carrying calves that have died for days, pushing them to surface, refusing to let go. Intelligence brings suffering, awareness of loss, but also joy. Dolphins play, surf waves for fun, blow bubble rings, pass them, toss them, consciousness, a gift and burden, but in sleep. Consciousness pauses, sets down its weight, just for a while, just long enough to rest. Thump, thump. Whales migrate thousands of miles, grey whales from Arctic to Baja, humpbacks from Alaska to Hawaii, feeding in cold, rich waters, breeding in warm, poor waters. Why travel so far? Energy expensive, perhaps because calves need warm water, lack blubber initially, or perhaps to avoid predators, orcas, in cold waters, or perhaps tradition. Learned routes passed through generations, culture in whales, knowledge transmitted, like human culture, but older. Cetaceans evolving intelligence 30 million years ago, while human ancestors still scurried, small, hidden. Whale songs evolve, humpback males singing complex songs, all males in a population singing the same song, but the song changes, year to year, new phrases added, old ones dropped, song spreading between populations, fashions in music, cultural transmission. Why they sing, uncertain, attracting mates perhaps, or just expression, beauty for its own sake, like human music, serving no survival function, just meaning, connection. The ocean filled with songs, evolving, changing, while you grow silent, thought fading, only breath remaining, in, out, in, out. Whales navigate without landmarks, crossing featureless ocean, finding tiny islands, returning to same breeding grounds, same feeding grounds, year after year. They may use magnetic fields, sensing Earth's field, using it as map. Magnetic particles found in their brains, magnetite crystals, aligning with field lines, providing sense direction. Or perhaps they use stars, sun position, polarized light patterns, or sounds, remembering echoes from seamounts, shelves, acoustic landmarks, or all of these, integrated multimodal navigation. The brain synthesizing information, creating map, creating meaning from sensation, like your brain now, creating dream from random neurons firing, from memories, from sensations, weaving narrative from nothing, from everything, from the dark. Ancient humans navigated oceans without instruments. Polynesians crossing thousands of miles, finding islands using wave patterns, star paths, bird behavior, the shape of swells wrapping around distant land, the refraction patterns, Norse sailors using sunstones, Iceland spar, crystals that show polarized light, navigating even under clouds, humans drawn to ocean, crossing it, despite danger, despite the impossible distances, because curiosity, because something calls, like sleep calling now, inevitable, necessary, the boundary between states dissolving, crossing over, leaving the shore of waking behind. Lost ships rest on the ocean floor, thousands of wrecks from every era. The Titanic, 2 miles down, split, decaying, metal-eating bacteria consuming iron, creating rusticles, delicate structures, the ship dissolving, slowly, eventually. Nothing will remain, just sediment, just memory. Other ships, ancient Roman galleys, Greek triremes, Viking longboats, Chinese junks, each one a time capsule, preserving cargo, preserving moments. The deep preserves them, cold, dark, low oxygen, wood lasting longer than on land, everything suspended, everything waiting, like you, suspended between day and tomorrow, waiting in the dark. Underwater archaeology reveals sunken cities, not Atlantis, but real places, drowned by rising seas. Pavlopetri, off Greece, 5,000 years old, streets, buildings, intact. Heraclean, off Egypt, lost for centuries, rediscovered, statues, temples, anchors, the Mediterranean, full of drowned history. Every sea level rise, drowning coasts, creating myths, stories of floods, of cities swallowed, based on truth, on gradual rising, or sudden tsunami. Either way, the ocean takes, the ocean keeps, heavier, heavier. Doggerland, connecting Britain to Europe, drowned 8,000 years ago as ice sheets melted, sea level rose, slowly, then faster, meltwater pulse, catastrophic, meters rising in centuries, people living there, forced to migrate or perish, their settlements, their lives, now under the North Sea. Fishing trawlers sometimes catch mammoths' tusks, tools, bones, evidence of lost world, lost land, the ocean erasing but also preserving in sediment, in memory. During ice ages, sea level dropped, hundreds of feet lower, shorelines far from present coasts, land bridges, Beringia connecting Asia and America, allowing migration, humans crossing, animals crossing, then warming, ice melting, seas rising, cutting off the connection, isolating populations, creating islands, new ecosystems, everything changing, climate shifting on timescales of millennia, and now shifting again, faster. But tonight, time stops, stretches, becomes irrelevant. Just this moment, this breath, this darkness, thump, thump. Some scientists study past ocean circulation collapse like the Younger Dryas 12,000 years ago. During deglaciation, freshwater pulse from melting ice, flooded North Atlantic, disrupted thermohaline circulation. The Gulf Stream weakened or shut down. Europe, suddenly cold for over 1,000 years. Then circulation resumed. Warming returned. The ocean, capable of abrupt changes, tipping points, where gradual warming triggers sudden shift. Everything connected, everything balanced precariously. But your balance now is simple, just letting go, letting gravity pull you down into mattress, down into sleep, down into the dark where nothing matters except rest. Super tsunamis in Earth's past left scars, deposits of marine sediment hundreds of feet above sea level, boulders carried inland, miles, caused by asteroid impacts or massive underwater landslides. The Strega Slide, off Norway, 8,000 years ago. Submarine landslide, volume of Iceland, generating tsunami, 25 meters, reaching Scotland, drowning settlements. These events rare, but inevitable. Eventually, the ocean, mostly calm, but capable of rage, of overwhelming force, like consciousness, mostly gentle, but capable of overwhelming thought, anxiety, but not now. Now, calm, stillness, thump, thump, fading. Megathrust earthquakes occur at subduction zones, where plates collide, stress builds, decades, centuries, then releases. Magnitude 9, 9.5, the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake shifted Earth's axis by centimeters, shortened the day by microseconds, generated tsunami, crossing the Indian Ocean, waves 30 meters tall, destruction, loss, the ocean transmitting energy, efficiently, unstoppably, power beyond comprehension. But you have no power now, no need for power, just surrender, just sink, heavier, heavier. Ocean trenches trap sediment, accumulating, the deepest parts, collecting what falls, mud, clay, shells. A complete record, layer upon layer, cores drilled from sediment, reveal history, climate cycles, extinction events, ice ages recorded in oxygen isotopes, temperature shifts, ocean chemistry changes, everything preserved, if you know how to read it, like memories in your brain, encoded, waiting, most inaccessible, most forgotten, just fragments, impressions, fading. Most of the ocean floor remains unmapped, 95% unexplored, 5%, maybe less. We have better maps of Mars, of the Moon, than of Earth's seafloor, the deep, Still unknown, still mysterious. Sonar gives rough outlines, but details require closer inspection. Submarines, robots, human eyes seeing so little, so much remaining, hidden, unknowable, perhaps forever, like the mind, mostly unknown to itself, consciousness illuminating only tiny fraction, the rest unconscious, deep, unexamined. And that's fine, that's natural. You don't need to know everything, don't need to understand, just be, just breathe, thump, thump. Scientists estimate millions of species in the ocean remain undiscovered. The census of marine life, decade-long project, catalogued thousands of new species, but each expedition finds more in hydrothermal vents, in trenches, in midwater, creatures unlike anything known, adaptations unexpected, body plans bizarre, the ocean still surprising us, still teaching, and perhaps teaching that we understand less than we think, that mystery is normal, that unknowing is the default state, like sleep, unknown, unmapped, each night different, yet we surrender anyway, trusting, accepting. Deep-sea exploration requires specialized vehicles, submersibles rated for extreme pressure, Alvin, capable of reaching 4,000 meters, Deep-sea Challenger, reaching the Mariana Trench bottom, pressure spheres, titanium, tiny windows, engineers calculating, testing, the margin for error, non-existent. One failure, implosion. But the draw of the deep, irresistible. Humans wanting to see us, to touch, to witness. Even though robots could do it safer, cheaper. There's something about being there, presence. The same impulse that drives exploration everywhere. Curiosity, deeper than logic, deeper than fear. Humans can survive underwater, but not deep. Free divers, holding breath, descending, the record, over 700 feet on a single breath. The body adapting, heart rate slowing, blood shift, organs compressing, then return, or with tanks, scuba diving, but limited. Nitrogen narcosis sets in. Depth, intoxication, past certain depths, judgment impaired. Beyond that, saturation diving, living in pressurized chambers, breathing mixed gases, helium, oxygen. Voices become high, squeaky. Body saturates with dissolved gas. Takes days to decompress, slowly, releasing gas, preventing bubbles, preventing bends. These divers work on deep platforms, repair undersea structures for weeks, living underwater, in pressure, a different world, different physics, but even they can't go below, maybe 600 meters. Beyond that, only robots, only remote eyes, everything deeper, experienced second-hand, through cameras, through sensors, never direct, never immediate, like memory, like dreams, always mediated, never quite real. The abyssal plains, flat expanses of sea floor, 3,000 to 6,000 meters deep, sediment, accumulated, smoothing topography, making the flattest places on Earth, flatter than any desert, any tundra, just mud, fine particles, settling endlessly, quiet, still, occasional sea cucumber, brittle star, moving across, feeding on organic particles, life in slow motion, metabolism slowed by cold, by scarcity, everything patient, everything waiting, like winter, like hibernation, like sleep extended, indefinite. Time losing meaning in the dark, ocean time scales, different from human time, surface currents, weeks to cross basins, deep currents, centuries, millennia, thermohaline circulation, 1,000 years to complete the loop, coral reefs, thousands of years building, sea mounts, millions of years forming, eroding, subsiding, oceanic crust, 200 million years recycled, the ocean operating on scales where human life, just a flicker, insignificant, and that's comforting in a way. Your troubles, your worries, vanishingly small against ocean time. Let them dissolve. Let the ocean take them, heavier, heavier, sinking into time so deep, your life disappears. Tidal rhythm influenced biology, even inland, even in humans. Perhaps. Some studies suggest mood, behavior, cycling with lunar phases, statistical noise, perhaps, or perhaps ancient programming from when ancestors lived by coasts, timed lives to tides, full moon, spring tides, higher, stronger, new moon, spring tides again, quarter moons, neap tides, weaker, the pattern, predictable, reliable, for millions of years, creatures timed reproduction, feeding, movement, to tides, to lunar cycles, genes remembering, bodies knowing, even now, even far from ocean, something remembering, something responding to the moon, to gravity, to rhythms older than consciousness. Thump, thump, thump. Coral spawn synchronized, one night per year. Sometimes, all colonies, releasing eggs and sperm together, usually nights after full moon. Exact timing varies, species to species, location to location, but always coordinated. The ocean filled suddenly with gamete, with possibility, fertilization, larvae drifting, most dying, few settling, beginning new colonies. The synchronization ensures some succeed, overwhelms predators, strategies evolved over millions of years, timing written in genes, triggered by light, by temperature, by lunar cycle. Everything connected to cycles, to rhythms, like sleep, cycling, REM, deep sleep, light sleep, repeating, 90-minute cycles, through the night, your brain knowing, following pattern, even without clocks, even without awareness, just cycling, naturally, inevitably. Grunion fish ride waves onto California beaches, spawning at night during higher spring tides. Females dig into sand, deposit eggs. Males curl around, release sperm. Their next wave carries them back. Eggs buried, develop in sand, safe from ocean predators. 2 weeks later, next spring tide, waves erode sand, eggs hatch, larvae wash to sea. Perfectly timed, perfectly adapted. Miss the tide, eggs stranded, too high, or washed away too soon. but they don't miss. Millions of years, perfecting timing. And you're perfecting sleep, learning to let go, learning to trust, timing your descent into darkness. Heavier, heavier. Lunar cycles affect many species. Oysters, opening shells, closing, with tides. Even when moved inland, kept in tanks, they continue, opening at times when tide would be high at their original location, then gradually shifting to new tide schedule based on moon position relative to new location. They sense moon somehow, responding to gravity, to magnetic fields, to something. The mechanism unclear, but the pattern undeniable. Everything connected to the moon, to tides, to cycles. Your body too, cycling, even now, melatonin rising, body temperature dropping, preparing, letting go. In the ocean, predator and prey, locked in arms races, evolving defenses, evolving counters, cone snails, injecting venom, paralytic toxins, faster than any drug, killing fish instantly. The venom, complex cocktail, hundreds of compounds, each species, different mix, scientists studying, hoping for medicine, for pain relief, the ocean, pharmacy, library of compounds, evolved solutions to biological problems, but also just life trying to survive, to eat, to avoid being eaten, the struggle, eternal, exhausting. But you can rest. No predators here, no threats, just safety, just darkness, just the bed holding you. Thump, thump, symbiosis everywhere in the ocean. Clownfish and anemones, fish immune to stings, living among tentacles, protected, in return, chasing away butterfly fish that eat anemones. Mutual benefit, cooperation, cleaner shrimp, picking parasites from fish, fish waiting in line, mouths open, gills flared, letting shrimp enter, trusting. Everyone benefits, everyone survives better together, even in competition, in predation. There's balance. Ecosystem stable when all parts present. Remove one, everything shifts, cascades. Like your body, systems cooperating, cells working together. You don't consciously direct digestion, immune response, healing. It happens. Cooperation at cellular level. And in sleep, repair happens. Growth hormone released. Memories consolidated. All without effort, without thought. Just cooperation. Just systems doing their work while you drift deeper. Bioluminescence in the ocean, used for many purposes. Anglerfish, lure dangling, glowing, attracting prey, close, closer. Then, snap, lanternfish, photophores on belly, counter-illumination. Seen from below, they match surface light, become invisible. Camouflage through light. Squid expelling glowing mucus, confusing predators, escaping in the flash, communication, mating displays, warnings, the deep ocean, more like a city at night than empty darkness. Lights everywhere, patterns, conversations, but silent, at least to us, just light, pulsing, fading, like thoughts, firing, fading, neurons pulsing, electrical signals, creating mind, creating experience, and now pulses slowing, signals weakening, darkness spreading, heavier, heavier. The ocean produces sounds we're only beginning to understand. Mysterious noises recorded over decades. The bloop, 1997, ultra-low frequency, heard across Pacific, speculated to be largest creature ever, but probably iceberg calving, ice breaking, or the upsweep, continuous sound, rising in frequency, source unknown, mid-Pacific, near volcanoes perhaps. The ocean, always making noise, always speaking, in languages we don't know, like your unconscious, always active, always processing, sending up signals, dreams, intuitions, anxieties. Most you don't hear, don't understand, just fragments, feelings. And that's enough. You don't need to understand everything. Just listen. Or don't. Just let it be. Thump, thump. Whale communication. Complex. Orcas have dialects, different pods, different calls, passed through generations, calves learning from mothers, grandmothers, culture, tradition, sperm whales, clicking, coders, patterns identifying clans spanning oceans. They click, listen, echolocating, imaging their world in sound, seeing what's invisible, distances, shapes, density, a sonic picture, richer perhaps than vision. The ocean mostly dark anyway, sound more useful, travelling farther, revealing more. They live in sound, the way you live in light, different senses, different world, and entering sleep, your senses fade, vision gone, sound muffled, touch distant, retreating inward to a world of nothing, just being, just existence without input, peaceful, empty, full. Some marine animals use magnetoreception, sensing Earth's magnetic field. Sea turtles, hatchlings emerging from nests, crawling to ocean, swimming for days, then navigating, finding feeding grounds thousands of miles away, years later returning to natal beach within miles. How? Magnetic map, imprinted at hatching. They sense field intensity, inclination, using it as coordinate system. Remarkable navigation, but also just following. Encoded instructions, genetic programming. The turtle doesn't choose, doesn't understand, just follows. Like your body breathing, heart beating. You don't choose, don't think about it, just happens. Autonomic, and sleep, autonomic too. You can't force it, can't decide it, just allow, surrender, and it comes creeping, inevitable, heavier, heavier. Ancient seafaring routes, Polynesian navigators, crossing Pacific, wayfinding, no instruments, just knowledge, star compass, memorized, 32 points, stars rising, setting, at specific points on horizon, wave patterns, swells from different directions, refracting around islands, indicating land, beyond sight, bird flights, frigate birds, returning to roost, following them at dusk, toward land, cloud formations, stationary clouds over islands, green flash, reflected from lagoons, every sign integrated, mental map, passed verbally, navigators training for years, then sailing, double-hulled canoes, provisioned, venturing into emptiness, trusting knowledge, trusting ocean, and you venture now into emptiness of sleep, trusting it will hold you, trusting you'll wake. It's a kind of faith, letting go, closing eyes, releasing control, thump, thump. Shipwrecks create artificial reefs, steel hulls, concrete, becoming substrate. Barnacles settle, then mussels, algae, fish shelter inside. Predators patrol outside. Within years, wreck covered, transformed. No longer human artifact, but ocean structure, integrated. The ocean reclaiming, always reclaiming. What humans make, ocean unmakes. Eventually, salt corrodes, pressure crushes, life colonizes. Nothing permanent, nothing resisting forever. Everything yields, everything returns to elements, to ocean, to earth, like consciousness, yielding, returning to unconsciousness, to the default state, waking, the anomaly, sleep, the truth, the baseline, everything returning, heavier, heavier, deep-sea mining, proposed, controversial, polymetallic nodules, potato-sized, on abyssal plains, rich in metals, cobalt, nickel, manganese, formed over millions of years, accretion, slow. Now, companies want to harvest, drag seafloor, collect nodules, but ecosystems there, fragile, slow-growing, disturbing sediment, creates plumes, spreading, smothering, life taking decades, centuries to recover. If it recovers, the deep seems empty, worthless, but it's not. It's just different, operating on different time scales, different values, and we don't understand what we'd destroy. But that thought, heavy, too heavy for sleep. Let it go. Let everything go. Just darkness. Just rest. The ocean reflects sky, blue, because water absorbs red light, scatters blue. Deeper you go, colors disappear. First red, orange, yellow, green, until only blue remains. Then black, and creatures there. Many are red, because in blue light, red appears black, camouflage, invisible, absorbed rather than reflected. Evolution finding solutions, surprising, elegant. The ocean, full of strategies of adaptations, of clever tricks. Life, endlessly creative. But you need no strategy now, no tricks. Just be heavier, heavier, sinking. Colors fading from your vision. First bright colors, now just darkness. Behind eyelids, just black. Restful, complete. Temperature in the ocean varies. Surface warm in tropics, 30 degrees Celsius. Cold in polar regions, below zero. Freezing, but salt keeps it liquid. Deeper, temperature drops. Thermocline, sharp boundary. Warm above, cold below. Below thermocline, 1 to 2 degrees. Uniform. The deep ocean, cold, always. Heat from hydrothermal vents, localized, brief. Most of the ocean, dark and cold, has been for billions of years, will be for billions more, unchanging, eternal, like the darkness behind your eyes, eternal, always there, waiting. Whenever you close them, reliable, constant, safe. Salinity varies too. Mediterranean, very salty. Evaporation high. Red Sea, even more. Baltic, less salty. Freshwater input from rivers. Polar regions, diluted by melting ice. Equator, diluted by rain. Each region, different, but average 35 parts per thousand, enough to taste, enough to feel. Ocean water in your mouth, bitter, salty, undrinkable. The taste of ancientness, of minerals, of time dissolved. But you taste nothing now. Mouth relaxed, tongue heavy, everything fading, every sense dimming. Thump, thump. Pressure at depth changes your body. If you could descend, unprotected, air spaces would crush, lungs collapse, sinuses, ears. Nitrogen would dissolve into blood, into tissues. Narcosis, then deeper, high-pressure nervous syndrome, tremors, hallucinations, eventually unconsciousness, death. The ocean kills those unprepared, but you're safe, here in bed. The only pressure, blankets, comforting weight. The only depth, sleep's depth, harmless, welcoming. Let yourself descend, deeper than any diver. No danger, just rest, just peace. Heavier, heavier. Chemosynthetic ecosystems don't need sun. They thrive in darkness. Energy from chemicals, from Earth's interior, hydrogen sulfide, methane, leaking from crust. Bacteria harvest energy, build sugars. Other life feeds on bacteria. Entire food webs, independent from photosynthesis. Proof that life doesn't need sun, doesn't need what we thought essential, just energy in any form. And life finds a way, exploits it, persists, resilient, creative. And you don't need thought, don't need waking consciousness to persist, to be. Sleep sustains you, darkness restores. You continue in different form, different state, but continuing, always. Thump, thump, the ocean floor spreading apart at ridges, magma rising, cooling, creating new crust, then conveyed away, like conveyor belt, millimeters per year, eventually reaching trenches, subducting, diving beneath other plates, returning to mantle, recycled, the ocean floor, never older than 200 million years, always young, always renewing, everything temporary, everything in motion, even what seems solid and stable is flowing, just slowly, and you're flowing too, into sleep, cells renewing, memories processing, nothing static, everything, process, everything, change, heavier, heavier, underwater volcanoes, more numerous than land volcanoes. 3/4 of volcanic activity happens underwater, unseen, most along mid-ocean ridges, small eruptions, constant, building ridge, building crust, but some explosive, despite water pressure, despite cold, Kickham Jenny in Caribbean erupts regularly, seamounts growing, someday, maybe, breaking surface, becoming islands, new land, from ocean, the ocean, giving birth, creating, but also taking erosion, subsidence. Islands sink. Eventually, everything balances. Creation, destruction, cycles, like breathing, in, out, creating, releasing, thump, thump, hotspots, mantle plumes, stationary, while plates move above, Hawaii, forming, youngest island, big island, still growing, Kilauea, Mauna Loa, erupting, adding land, to the northwest, older islands, eroded, smaller, further northwest, emperor seamounts, drowned, once islands, now underwater mountains, the chain, a timeline, written in stone, each volcano marking plate's position, over the hotspot, millions of years ago, the ocean, recording history, if you know how to read it, like your brain, recording day, if you could access, but you can't, not consciously, just fragments, impressions, fading, already forgotten, let them go, tsunamis, generated by earthquakes, underwater landslides, in deep ocean, waves barely noticeable, maybe a foot high, but travelling fast, 500 miles per hour, as they approach shore, slowing, shallow water drags bottom, wave height increases dramatically, water rising tens of feet, hundreds in extreme cases, the ocean gathering, concentrating energy, releasing it on shore, unstoppable, power beyond human scale, but distant now, you're inland, you're safe, just thoughts, just facts, nothing threatening, just information flowing, like water, like waves, passing over, leaving you untouched, heavier, heavier, the ocean, cycles carbon, phytoplankton photosynthesize, absorb CO2, when they die, some carbon sinks, buried in sediment, removed from cycle for millions of years, becoming limestone, becoming oil, the ocean, storing carbon, regulating atmosphere. Without ocean, Earth would be much hotter, too much CO2, greenhouse effect, but ocean absorbs, buffers, at a cost, acidification, but still absorbing, always working like your body, always working, maintaining homeostasis, regulating temperature, pH, glucose, everything balanced, automatically. You don't think about it, don't need to. Systems, cooperating, even now, even as you drift, deeper, everything working so you can rest. Blue carbon, stored in coastal ecosystems, mangroves, seagrass, salt marshes. They sequester carbon in sediments, faster than forests, more per area, protecting coasts, nursery habitat, and climate regulation. Multiple benefits, but vulnerable. Coastal development, pollution, destroying them, releasing stored carbon, everything connected, every action, ripples, consequences spreading, like dropping stone in pond, waves radiating, affecting everything, but too big to hold, too much to think about. Let it go, just sleep, just darkness. Thump, thump, oceanoxia in Earth's past. Sometimes oxygen vanished. Deep ocean first, then spreading. Shallow seas affected. Mass mortality. Hydrogen sulfide rising. Poisoning surface waters. Purple sulfur bacteria thriving. The ocean turning green. Purple. Toxic. These events linked to warming, to volcanism, to carbon release, feedbacks, amplifying, until, eventually, circulation restores, oxygen returns, life recovers, but different, changed, survivors, evolving, filling niches, the ocean, resilient, on geologic time, but for creatures living through it, extinction, suffering, everything ends, eventually, but also begins again, cycles, rising, falling, like breath, like heartbeat, like waking and sleep, endless cycles, thump, thump. Fossils in ocean sediment tell stories. Foraminifera, tiny shells, different species, prefer different temperatures. Their ratios in sediment layers reveal past ocean temperatures, climate, cycling, ice ages, warm periods, the ocean, remembering, recording, in limestone, in shale, stories compressed, preserved, and scientists reading, interpreting, learning what happened millions of years ago from tiny shells, from chemical signatures, isotopes, oxygen-18, oxygen-16, the ocean library, mostly unread, mostly buried, but there, waiting, like your own memories, mostly inaccessible, but there, somewhere, in neural patterns, in synaptic strengths, stored, transformed, fading, heavier, heavier, living fossils and coelacanth, nautilus, horseshoe crabs, shark lineages, essentially unchanged. Why? No pressure to change. If adaptation works, why alter it? Or perhaps constraints, developmental pathways, locked in, hard to modify, without breaking, everything connected, changing one thing affects others, sometimes easier to stay same, and you stay, breathing, heart beating, same pattern, reliable, ancient, mammalian, but now entering older state, sleep, reptilian brain, taking over, mammalian cortex, quieting, older systems, maintaining, you, becoming simpler, more ancient, more fundamental, just being. Thump, thump, coelacanth, caught 1938, shock, scientists thought extinct, 65 million years, but there it was, alive. Since then, populations found, Indian Ocean, Indonesia, living deep, rocky inclines, moving slowly, almost drifting, metabolism slow, low energy. They give birth to live young, few offspring, rare, endangered now, fishing, bycatch, but persisting, hidden, the ocean, still hiding, still surprising, and sleep, hiding you from the world, from yourself. Surprising too, what emerges, in dreams, in thoughts dissolving, strange, unexpected, connections, but that's later. For now, just sinking, just letting go, nautilus shell, spiral, chambers, each chamber marking growth, As nautilus grows, adds larger chamber, moves forward, seals old chamber, fills with gas, buoyancy control, the spiral, logarithmic, perfect geometry, Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio, mathematics, emerging naturally from growth, from physics, the universe, elegant, orderly, beneath chaos, patterns, everywhere, if you look, but you're not looking. Eyes closed, patterns fading, just darkness, formless, empty, perfect, heavier, heavier. Sharks, cartilaginous fish, skeletons of cartilage, not bone, lighter, flexible, advantages, in water, teeth, continually replaced, rows, moving forward, like conveyor belt, lose one, another takes its place, thousands, over lifetime, fossilized shark teeth, abundant, more than any other fossil, because so many produced. Hard enamel, preserved easily, ancient seas, full of sharks, predators, apex, controlling ecosystems, top down. Remove sharks, everything changes, cascades, prey increases, overgraze, systems collapse, balance, delicate, everything interconnected, and in your body, balances too. Remove sleep, everything suffers, mood, memory, health. Balance requires us rest, requires surrender, thump, thump, deep sea fish, many transparent, organs visible, eyes, stomach, minimal pigment, in darkness, no point, no sunlight, nothing to hide from, visually, better to be invisible, to light that does exist, bioluminescence, from others, transparency, effective camouflage, strategy, elegant, simple, but strange to see, barrelly fish, transparent head, eyes inside, tubular, looking up, watching for silhouettes, prey, passing above, against faint surface light, evolution, solving problems in unexpected ways, and your mind, solving problems in sleep, processing, consolidating, finding connections, creativity, emerging from unconscious, from darkness, solutions appearing when you stop trying, when you just let go. Heavier, heavier, anglerfish, deep sea, females, large, males, tiny. When male finds female, he bites, attaches, fuses, biologically. Their tissues merge, bloodstreams connect. He degenerates, loses eyes or organs, becomes parasite almost, providing sperm when needed. She can have multiple males attached, strange but effective, in vast darkness, finding mate difficult, solution, stay attached, forever, no separation, just fusion, like sleep, fusion with bed, with darkness, boundaries dissolving. Where do you end? Bed begin, doesn't matter, just together, merged, one, thump, thump, lanternfish, abundant, biomass, exceeding, all humans, all livestock combined, yet invisible, living at depths, rising, at night, small, silvery, photophores glowing, patterns, species specific, they fill ocean, feeding, being fed upon, transferring energy, upward, supporting, larger predators, foundation of deep sea food webs, unnoticed, uncelebrated, but essential, like sleep, essential, unnoticed, taken for granted until absent. Then everything falls apart, health declines, mind fractures, sleep, fundamental, like lanternfish, invisible, but holding everything together, heavier, heavier. Jellyfish blooms, sometimes triggered by overfishing, removing competitors, predators, warming waters, changing currents. Suddenly, millions, clogging waters, stinging, swimming pools of jellyfish, then dissipating, mysterious, beautiful, alien, pulsing, rhythmic, contracting, relaxing, like breathing, like heartbeat, thump, thump. Ancient jellyfish existed 600 million years before vertebrates, before shells. Just simple. Nerve net, no brain, but surviving, thriving, simplicity, effective, and you becoming simple. Thought fading, just sensation, just breath, no complexity needed, just being heavier. Turritopsis, immortal jellyfish. When stressed, aging, damaged, it reverts to polyp stage, juvenile, begins again, potentially infinite cycles, biological immortality, though predation, disease still kill, not invincible, just a theoretically unaging, like ocean, always there, always renewing, never truly old, never young, just continuous, eternal, present, and sleep, each night, renewing, restoring, making you younger, repairing, refreshing, mini immortality, each morning, rebirth, but first must sleep, must let go, deeper, deeper, thump, thump, octopus intelligence, problem solving, tool use, opening jars, escaping tanks, squeezing through impossibly small gaps, no bones, just beak, if beak fits, body fits, distributed intelligence, neurons, in arms, 2/3, each arm, semi-autonomous, exploring, learning, independently, while central brain coordinates, observes, the octopus, thinking with its whole body, like your body, thinking without you, autonomic systems, deciding, adjusting, heart rate, breath depth, temperature, conscious input, just working, and in sleep, even more, dreams, processing, learning, consolidating. You, not in control, just witness, observer, or not even just darkness. Heavier, heavier. Cuttlefish, masters of camouflage, changing colour, texture, pattern, instantly. Chromatophores, expanding, contracting, controlled by muscles, nerves, reflecting cells, beneath, creating any pattern, any colour, matching substrate, or displaying to mates, to rivals, hypnotic ripples, waves of colour across skin, communication, emotion, expression made visible, and your face in sleep expresses too. Muscles relax, tension releases, true self emerging, no performance, no control, just being pure, unguarded, beautiful, invulnerability. Thump, thump. Mantis shrimp see colours we cannot imagine. 16 photoreceptors. Humans have 3. Ultraviolet, polarized light. They perceive dimensions of colour we cannot conceive. Their world, richer, more complex, but also they strike. Fastest punch, animal kingdom, accelerating like bullet, cavitation bubble, forming, collapsing, creating, sonoluminescence, light from violence, from speed, sound louder than gunshot. Underwater, they're fierce, tiny, beautiful, deadly, but distant. Not here, not threatening, just fascinating information flowing past like thoughts, acknowledged, released, gone, heavier, heavier. Dolphin, self-aware, recognizing themselves. Mirrors, they have names, signature whistles, unique. Each individual, they use each other's names, calling, responding, social, complex. They mourn, carrying dead calves, days, grieving. They play, surfing waves, no survival value, just joy. Consciousness brings suffering, but also wonder, delight, connection, the price of awareness. But sleep pauses that temporarily, sets burden down, rest from consciousness, from self, from knowing, just existing, without weight, without identity, free. Thump, thump, whale migration, grey whales, Arctic to Baja, longest migration, mammals, 10,000 miles, round trip, annually, feeding in cold, rich waters, breeding in warm, poor waters. Why travel so far? Energy expensive. Calves need warmth, perhaps, or avoiding predators, orcas in feeding grounds, or tradition, learned roots, cultural knowledge, passed down generations, whales, teaching, learning, like humans, but older, much older, intelligence, evolving, millions of years before us, before anything like us, and they swim through darkness, through deep, navigating, without maps, without light, trusting, ocean, trusting, instinct, like you, trust sleep, trust, it will hold you, carry you, through night to morning, safe, heavier, heavier, humpback songs, complex, evolving, all males, in population, sing same song, but song changes, year to year, new phrases added, old ones dropped, songs spreading between populations, cultural transmission, fashion in Wales. Why sing, attracting mates, probably, or just expression, beauty for itself, like art, like music, serving no survival function, just meaning, connection, mystery. The ocean, filled with songs, changing, evolving, while you grow silent, thought fading, only breath remains, in, out, rhythm, simple, ancient, enough, thump, thump, navigation, without landmarks, featureless ocean, yet whales, find, tiny islands, breeding grounds, feeding areas, year after year, same locations, how magnetic sensing, perhaps magnetite crystals, in brain, aligned, to Earth's field, providing direction or sun position, star patterns, polarized light or sound, acoustic landmarks, seamounts, echoing, remembered, or all integrated, multimodal, complex, but automatic, unconscious. They don't think about it, just know, like your body knows to breathe, to beat, to sleep. No thought required, just happening naturally, inevitable, heavier, Polynesians navigating, without instruments, wayfinding, star compass, wave patterns, bird flights, cloud formations, every sign, integrated, mental map, passed verbally, navigator, training, years, then sailing into emptiness, trusting knowledge, trusting ocean, faith. That seemed impossible, but worked, colonized, Pacific Islands, thousands of miles apart, humans drawn to ocean, to crossing, despite danger, despite fear, curiosity, stronger, need to see, to know, to go. But you, going nowhere, staying here, in bed, in darkness, in safety, no journey needed, just stillness, just rest. Thump, thump, shipwrecks, artificial reefs, steel, becoming, habitat, colonized, transformed, ocean, reclaims, always or rust, corrosion, life, growing, covering, until indistinguishable. From reef, from rock, the ocean, patient, relentless, taking back everything. Eventually, human structures dissolve, return to elements, to sea, to earth. Nothing permanent, nothing resisting, forever, like consciousness, temporary, dissolving, returning to unconsciousness, to sleep, default state, baseline, waking, the anomaly, sleep, the truth, everything returns heavier. Underwater archaeology, sunken cities, not Atlantis, but real. Pavlopetri, Greece, 5,000 years, streets, buildings, intact. Heraclean, Egypt, lost centuries, rediscovered. Temples, statues, the Mediterranean, full of drowned history. Sea level, rising, drowning coasts, slowly, then, suddenly, meltwater pulse, catastrophic, meters rising, centuries, people displaced, migrating, or perishing, their lives now under waves. The ocean erasing, but also preserving, in sediment, in memory, in stories, told, retold, fading like your thoughts, fading, now heavier. Doggerland, between Britain, Europe, drowned. 8,000 years ago, ice melting, sea rising, land bridge submerged, isolating, populations creating islands, new ecosystems, fishermen still catch, mammoth tusks, tools, bones, evidence, lost world, lost land, the ocean, taking, slowly, then, quickly, irreversible, change, but also cycles, ice ages, return, sea level, drops, land, emerges, again, nothing permanent, everything, cycling, rising, falling, like breath, like heartbeat, like sleep, and waking. cycles, endless, reliable, thump, thump, younger Dryas, 12,000 years ago, during deglaciation, freshwater pulse, from melting, flooded, North Atlantic, disrupted, thermohaline circulation, Gulf Stream, weakened, stopped, Europe, suddenly, cold, 1,000 years, then, circulation, resumed, warming, returned, the ocean, capable of abrupt changes, tipping points, where gradual becomes sudden, everything, connected, delicately, balanced, one change, triggers, cascade, unstoppable, but your balance, now, simple, just, letting gravity pull you down, into mattress, into sleep, into dark, where nothing matters except rest, heavier, heavier. Super tsunamis, scars, remain, sediment deposits hundreds of feet above sea level, boulders, carried miles inland, caused by asteroid impacts, underwater landslides, Storegga Slide, Norway, 8,000 years ago, volume of Iceland, sliding, tsunami, 25 meters, reaching, Scotland, drowning, settlements. These events, rare but inevitable, eventually, the ocean, mostly calm but capable of rage, overwhelming force like consciousness, mostly gentle but capable of overwhelming anxiety, panic, but not now, now, calm, stillness, peace, thump, thump, fading, megathrust earthquakes, subduction zones, stress, building, decades, centuries, then releasing. Magnitude 9, 9.5, 2004, Indian Ocean, earthquake, shifted Earth's axis, centimeters, shortened day, microseconds, generated, tsunami, crossing ocean, 30-meter waves, destruction, loss, the ocean, transmitting energy, efficiently, unstoppably, power, beyond comprehension, but you, no power, now, no need for power, just surrender, sink, heavier, heavier, deeper, into the dark, ocean trenches, sediment traps, accumulating, deepest parts, collecting, what falls, mud, clay, shells, complete record, layers, centuries, millennia, cause drilled, reveal, history, climate cycles, extinctions, ice ages, oxygen isotopes, temperature shifts, chemistry changes, everything, preserved if you know how to read, like memories, in brain, encoded, waiting, most inaccessible, forgotten, just fragments, impressions, fading, but there, somewhere, in the deep of mind, of ocean, of sleep, thump, thump, most ocean floor, unmapped, 95% unexplored, 5% maybe less, better maps, of Mars, of Moon, than, seafloor, sonar, rough outlines, but details require closer inspection, human eyes, seeing little, so much, remaining, hidden, unknowable, perhaps forever, like mind, mostly unknown, to itself, consciousness, illuminating, tiny fraction, the rest, unconscious, deep, unexamined, and that's fine, natural. You don't need to know everything, to understand. Just breathe. Heavier, heavier. Millions of species, undiscovered, sensors of marine life, catalogued thousands, new species, but each expedition finds more, invents trenches, midwater, creatures unlike anything known, adaptations, unexpected, body plans, bizarre, the ocean, still surprising, still teaching, that we understand, less than we think, mystery, normal, unknowing, default, like sleep, unknown, unmapped, each night, different, yet we surrender anyway, trusting, accepting, not knowing where we go when we sleep, just going, faithfully, thump, thump, deep-sea vehicles, submersibles, pressure-rated, Alvin, 4,000 meters, deep-sea Challenger, Mariana Trench, 11,000, titanium spheres, tiny windows, margin for error, non-existent, one failure, implosion, death. But humans want to see, to touch, to witness, even though robots could do it safer, cheaper, something about being there, presence, curiosity, deeper than logic, deeper than fear, like sleep, deeper than thought, deeper than awareness, just going into depth, because it's there, because you must, heavier, heavier, human limits, underwater, free diving, breath hold, 700 feet, recurred, body adapting, heart slowing, blood shift, organs compressing, then return with tanks, scuba diving, limited, nitrogen narcosis, depth intoxication, judgment impaired, high pressure nervous syndrome, tremors, hallucinations, unconsciousness, death. The ocean kills those unprepared, but you, safe, here, in bed, only pressure, blankets, comforting, weight, only depth, sleep's depth, harmless, welcoming, descend, deeper than any diver, no danger, just rest, just peace, heavier, heavier, saturation diving, living in, pressurized chambers, breathe in, mix gases, helium, oxygen, voices, high-pitched, squeaky, body saturates with gas, takes days to decompress, slowly releasing, preventing bubbles, preventing bends. These divers work deep, platforms, repair, undersea structures, weeks, living underwater, in pressure, different world, different physics, but even they can't go below 600 meters. Beyond that, only robots, only remote eyes, everything deeper, experienced, secondhand, through cameras, sensors, never direct, never immediate, like memory, like dreams, always mediated, never quite real, never quite true, just impressions, fading, heavier, heavier, abyssal plains, flattest places on Earth, 3,000 to 6,000 meters, deep, sediment, smoothing, topography, accumulated over millions of years, just mud, fine particles, settling endlessly, quiet, still, occasional, sea cucumber, brittle star, moving, slowly, feeding on organic particle, life in, slow motion, metabolism, slowed by cold, by scarcity, everything, patient, everything, waiting, like winter, like hibernation, like sleep, extended, indefinite, time, losing meaning, in the dark, in the deep, in the endless, night, ocean timescales, different from human time, surface currents, weeks, to cross basins, deep currents, centuries, millennia, thermohaline circulation, 1,000 years, complete loop, coral reefs, thousands of years, building, seamounts, millions of years, forming, eroding, subsiding, oceanic crust, 200 million years, recycled, the ocean, operating on scales where human life just flicker, insignificant, and that's comforting. In a way, your troubles, your worries, vanishingly small, against ocean time, let them dissolve, let the ocean take them, heavier, heavier, sinking into time, so deep, your life disappears, just ocean, just depth, just dark, thump, thump, tidal rhythms in biology, even inland, even in humans, perhaps some studies suggest mood, behavior, cycling, with lunar phases, statistical noise, perhaps, or perhaps ancient programming from when ancestors lived by, coasts, timed lives, to tides, full moon, spring tides, higher, stronger, new moon, spring tides, again, quarter moons, neap tides, weaker, the pattern predictable, reliable, for millions of years, creatures timed, reproduction, feeding, movement, to tides, to lunar cycles, genes, remembering, bodies, knowing, even now, even far, from ocean, something, remembering, something, responding, to moon, to gravity, to rhythms, older than consciousness, thump, 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 fading, slower, deeper, coral spawning, synchronized, one night per year, sometimes all colonies, releasing eggs and sperm together, usually nights after full moon, exact timing varies, species to species, location to location, but always coordinated, the ocean filled suddenly with gametes, with possibility, fertilization, larvae drifting, most dying, few settling, beginning, new colonies, the synchronization ensures some succeed, overwhelms predators, strategies, evolved over millions of years, timing, written in genes, triggered by light, by temperature, by lunar cycle, everything connected to cycles, to rhythms, like sleep, cycling, REM, deep sleep, light sleep, repeating 90-minute cycles through the night, your brain knowing, following pattern even without clocks, even without awareness, just cycling naturally, inevitably, heavier, heavier, deeper into the cycle, into the rhythm, into the dark, grunion fish, riding waves, California beaches, spawning at night, highest, spring tides. Females dig into sand, deposit eggs, males curl around, release sperm, next wave carries them back, eggs buried, develop in sand, safe from ocean predators. 2 weeks later, next spring tide, waves erode, sand, eggs hatch, larvae wash to sea, perfectly timed, perfectly adapted, miss the tide, eggs stranded or washed too soon. But they don't miss millions of years, perfecting timing and you, perfecting sleep, learning to let go, learning to trust, timing your descent into darkness, heavier, heavier, perfect timing, perfect surrender, die, must sleep, must you let go, deeper, deeper, thump, thump, the ocean, divided into realms. Biogeography, patterns of life, distributed, not randomly, but by barriers, invisible walls, temperature, salinity, currents, depth, each creating boundaries. Tropical species cannot survive, polar cold, deep-sea creatures cannot tolerate shallow pressure or light. So life organizes itself into provinces, into zones, each unique, each isolated, islands of habitat, separated by uninhabitable space, like consciousness, divided into states, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, each separate, each bounded, transition zones between where one state bleeds into another, where boundaries blur, like now, between waking and sleep, the boundary dissolving, heavier, heavier, and within the ocean, vast areas, nearly empty, open ocean deserts, the subtropical gyres, where currents circle endlessly, high pressure, descending air, little rain, and more, surface water, warm, light, nutrient poor, a cap, preventing deep nutrient from rising below the thermocline, nutrients wait, locked away, unreachable, so surface waters, clear, blue, beautiful, but empty, biological deserts, like the Sargasso Sea in the Atlantic, crystal clear, deep blue, but few fish, few plankton, just clarity, just emptiness, peaceful, serene, like your mind. Now, thoughts clearing, emptying, just spaciousness, just quiet, nothing to hold, nothing to carry, heavier, heavier, drifting through, empty blue, peaceful, so peaceful. The subtropical gyres rotate slowly, accumulating what drifts, center point, doldrums, where sailors, once becalmed, no wind, no movement, just waiting, days, weeks, in stillness, on glassy water, the ocean, breathing slowly, barely moving, like your breath, now, so slow, so shallow, barely there, just enough to sustain, nothing more, energy, conserved, everything, minimal, everything, quiet, thump, thump, so faint, so distant, like heartbeat, in a dream, barely real, barely anything. But polar oceans, different entirely, cold, so cold, water near, freezing point, -2 degrees Celsius, salt keeping it liquid, just barely here. Life explodes, seasonal abundance, summer brings, 24-hour sunlight, phytoplankton bloom, turning water, green, murky with life, krill swarm, trillions, feeding, growing, whales arrive, feeding on krill, eating tons, daily, seals, penguins, seabirds, all feeding, frantically, storing energy for winter when darkness returns and ice advances, covering everything, sealing the ocean beneath, frozen ceiling, heavier, heavier, sea ice forming. When ocean freezes, but salt doesn't freeze, ice crystals, pure water, forming, growing, pushing salt downward, concentrating in remaining water, brine, denser, sinking, cold and salty, plunging to depths, driving, circulation, thermohaline, the ocean's heartbeat started here in polar regions where cold and salt make water heavy enough to sink, to spread across ocean floor, century after century, millennium after millennium, patient, unstoppable, like sleep, overtaking your body, cell by cell, system by system, everything, slowing, everything, sinking, heavier, heavier, deeper, into the cold, into the dark. Within the ice, brine channels form, tiny passages, pockets of concentrated salt water trapped in ice matrix, too salty to freeze at these temperatures. And within these channels, life persists, bacteria, algae, tiny organisms living in liquid veins inside solid ice, adapted to extreme salinity, to cold, to confinement in microscopic spaces, life finding a way, even there, even in impossible places, proving that existence continues in the smallest spaces, in the darkest corners, in the coldest depths, like consciousness continuing in sleep, different, diminished, but are present somewhere in the deep of brain, of night, of ice, thump, thump, Antarctic bottom water, densest water, in ocean, forms around Antarctica, sea ice, growing, rejecting salt, cold water, heavy with brine, sinks down continental shelf, cascading, down inclines, accelerating, underwater, waterfall of dense water, pouring into abyss, spreading across ocean floor, flowing northward, beneath all other water masses, the deepest current, the slowest, taking 1,000 years or more to reach equator, water touched by Antarctic ice a millennium ago, still travelling, still spreading, still moving imperceptibly, like time passing as you sleep, uncounted, unfelt, but real, but continuing heavier, heavier, the Southern Ocean, encircling Antarctica, unique, no land, blocking it, east to west, so currents circle, unimpeded, the Antarctic circumpolar current, strongest current on Earth, connecting all oceans, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, mixed together here, everything flowing eastward, driven by westerly winds, the roaring 40s, the furious 50s, the screaming 60s, latitudes where wind never stops, where waves grow enormous, where ocean shows its power, its vastness, its indifference to humanity, to consciousness, to anything, small and temporary, but distant now. You're far from cold, from wind, from waves, just warm, just still, just safe, in bed, in darkness, in sleep's approaching, arms heavier, heavier. The Southern Ocean absorbs carbon dioxide more than any other region. Cold water holds more gas, dissolves CO2, sinking with Antarctic bottom water, carrying carbon to depths, sequestering for centuries the ocean, buffering, slowing, climate change, taking in what we emit, storing it away, deep below, out of sight, out of mind. The ocean working, always working, even as we sleep, even as we ignore systems, operating, maintaining balance as best they can, like your body, maintaining homeostasis, temperature, pH, oxygen, everything regulated, even now, even as our consciousness fades, systems continue, automatic, reliable, trustworthy, thump, thump, so slow, so steady, so dependable. Ocean heat storage, immense, water, has high heat capacity, absorbs energy, releases slowly. The ocean contains 90% of heat from climate, warming, greenhouse gases, trap heat, but most goes into ocean, not atmosphere. The ocean moderating, slowing, temperature rise on land. Without ocean, Earth would be much hotter, already uninhabitable. Perhaps, but ocean absorbs, stores, releases, gradually, keeping climate more stable than it would be. The ocean, Earth's thermostat, its thermal battery, charging, discharging, maintaining balance over decades, over centuries, timescales, so long we barely notice, barely comprehend, like sleep's benefits, accumulating slowly, night after night, year after year, building resilience, maintaining health in ways we don't see, don't measure, don't appreciate until gone, heavier, heavier. The ocean and climate, stability, linked, inseparable. Ocean currents distribute heat from equator to poles, Gulf Stream, warming, Europe, Kuroshio, warming, Japan. Without these currents, climate would be extreme, tropics, too hot, poles, too cold. But ocean circulates, mixes, sharing warmth, moderating everything. The ocean making Earth habitable, making life possible, not just in ocean, but on land, too. Everything connected, everything dependent on ocean's circulation, on ocean's stability, on ocean's patience and capacity to absorb, to buffer, to maintain, like sleep. Maintaining you, restoring, balancing, making tomorrow possible, making life sustainable. Thump, thump, but ocean can change abruptly. Tipping points exist. Circulation can slow, can stop. As before, younger Dryas, 12,000 years ago, circulation, collapsed, climate, shifted, suddenly, dramatically, then, centuries later, resumed, climate, returned, the ocean, capable of surprises, of sudden shifts, from gradual to catastrophic, from stable to chaotic, and back, eventually, given enough time, but time, measured in centuries, millennia, human lifetimes, insignificant, against ocean time, your lifetime, against infinity. A single breath against all breathing, ever, one heartbeat in endless rhythm, thump, thump, so small, so brief, so temporary. Let that comfort you. Nothing lasts, including worry, including fear, including this moment, already passing, already gone, heavier, heavier, and below, so much remains unexplored. 95% of ocean never seen by human eyes. We've mapped from orbit, using satellites, measuring gravity, detecting seamounts, trenches, ridges, but rough, resolution, missing details. We've sent submersibles to deepest points, Mariana Trench, Challenger Deep, 11,000 meters, but just brief visits, hours, in places that span miles. We've sampled with trawls, with grabs, pulling up mud creatures from darkness, but seeing almost nothing of context, of habitat, of behavior. The ocean keeps secrets, keeps mysteries, keeps most of itself hidden, unknown, unknowable, perhaps forever. Heavier, heavier, in trenches, in mid-water, on abyssal plains, creatures live. We've never seen, never imagined. Each expedition finds new species, dozens, sometimes hundreds, body plans unlike anything known, adaptations unexpected, impossible by our understanding, yet existing, thriving in darkness, in pressure, in cold, in conditions we thought prohibitive. The ocean teaches us that life, more creative, more resilient, more diverse than we imagined, that our understanding incomplete, that mystery normal, that unknowing, the default state, like sleep, like dreams, like the unconscious, mostly unknown, mostly mysterious. And that's fine, that's natural. You don't need to know, to understand, to map everything. Some things exist in darkness, unexplored, unknowable, and that's beautiful, that's peaceful, that's rest. Heavier, heavier, thump, thump, volcanic vents on seafloor. We've found hundreds, but estimate thousands exist undiscovered, each one an oasis, a unique community, species found nowhere else, isolated by distance, by darkness, by inhospitable water between, like islands in the sky, each vent evolution proceeding independently, creating unique solutions to same problems. How to survive without sunlight, how to thrive in heat, in toxins, in darkness, complete life finding, ways we're still discovering, still learning, the ocean teaching patient, eternal lessons available for those who listen, who look, who descend into the deep like you, descending now into sleep's deep where lessons await in dreams, in rest, in darkness that teaches without words, heavier, heavier. Seamounts, underwater mountains, perhaps 100,000 or more, dot the ocean floor, most never seen, never mapped in detail, never explored, each one potential habitat for creatures adapted to currents, to depth, to isolation. Some seamounts host unique species found nowhere else on Earth. Entire ecosystems unknown, unprotected, vulnerable to fishing, to mining, to destruction. Before we even know they exist, the ocean losing diversity, we never counted species going extinct. Before discovery, loss upon loss, invisible, ungrieved, but real, nevertheless, like sleep, lost, never recovered, nights, missed, damage, accumulating, invisible until too late, but not tonight. Tonight, you sleep. Tonight, you rest. Tonight, you restore what can be restored, heavier, heavier, deeper, deeper, mid-water, between surface and floor, the largest habitat on Earth by volume, three-dimensional space extending thousands of meters top to bottom, and we've sampled almost none of it. Nets catch what happens to be there when they pass, but miss everything else. Missing behaviors, interactions, migrations, mysteries, the midwater, dark, cold, vast, beyond comprehension, and mostly empty, but not entirely. Creatures drifting, hunting, hiding in darkness, adapted to life without landmarks, without light, without surface or floor, just endless water, above, below, all directions the same, disorienting, unless you're adapted, unless you're home there, in the void, in the nothing, in the everything, heavier, heavier, and scientists estimate perhaps just 2 million species in ocean, but we've described maybe 200,000, 90% unknown, uncatalogued, unnamed, living, dying, evolving, without our knowledge, without our awareness. The ocean, full of life, will never see, never know, never understand, and maybe that's appropriate. Maybe not everything needs to be known, catalogued, studied. Maybe mystery has value, intrinsic, beyond utility, beyond understanding. Maybe the unknown should remain unknown, sacred, untouched by light, by human eyes, by curiosity that consumes. Maybe darkness deserves to stay dark. Maybe sleep deserves to stay mysterious. Maybe you don't need to understand why you're drifting, where you're going, what happens in the deep of night, of mind, of ocean. Just trust, just surrender, just go. Heavier, heavier, thump, thump, fading, fading, almost gone. The ocean, breathing, beneath continents, beneath consciousness, beneath everything. We think we know the ocean, older, deeper, wiser, in its wordless way, teaching through darkness, through depth, through mystery, that some things cannot be known, should not be known, need not be known, just experienced, just felt, just surrendered, just like sleep, like ocean, like the vast unknown, waiting, patient, eternal, welcoming all who descend, all who let go, all who trust the darkness to hold them heavier, 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 sinking into unknown, into ocean, into sleep, deep, deep sleep, where nothing needs knowing, where nothing needs being, except this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, so faint, so far, so almost gone, and the ocean keeps breathing, keeps waiting, keeps holding everything in its deep, dark, ancient arms, and you floating, drifting, sinking into those arms, those depths, that darkness, heavier, 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 sleep, 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 lunar cycles affect many species, oysters, opening shells, closing with tides, even when moved inland, kept in tanks, they continue opening at times when tide would be high at original location, then gradually shifting to new tide schedule based on moon position relative to new location. They sense moon somehow responding to gravity, to magnetic fields, to something. The mechanism unclear, but the pattern undeniable. Everything connected to moon, to tides, to cycles, your body, to cycling. Even now, melatonin rising, body temperature dropping, preparing, letting go, responding to signals. Older than thought, older than words, just body knowing, time to rest, time to sleep, time to surrender, heavier, heavier, thump, thump, slower, quieter, fading, the ocean breathing beneath us, tides rising, falling, currents circulating, creatures migrating, up, down, day, night, cycles within, cycles, rhythms within, rhythms, everything moving, everything connected, the ocean alive, not conscious, but alive, processing, cycling, maintaining balance, like your body in sleep, processing, cycling, maintaining, no consciousness needed, just systems working automatically, reliably, eternally. The ocean, older than mountains, older than continents, older than memory, present since, earth cooled, will be present long after. We're gone, indifferent, eternal, vast, beyond comprehension, beyond caring, just being, just existing, like sleep, not caring, not judging, just there, always there, waiting, welcoming, heavier, heavier, deeper and deeper, and in the deepest trenches, where pressure should crush everything. Life persists, adapted, thriving in conditions we thought impossible, proving that life finds a way, always, even in darkness, even in cold, even under weight. That should destroy. Life continues, adapts, persists, and you continue too, through darkness, through pressure, through weight of day, of worry, of thought. You persist, you adapt, and sleep helps, restores, renews, each night dying a little, each morning reborn, cycles, endless, reliable, the ocean teaching us that depth is not destruction, that darkness is not death, just different, just another way to be, another state, equally valid, equally real, heavier, heavier, accepting the depth, accepting the dark, accepting sleep, thump, thump, so slow now, so quiet, almost gone. The bioluminescent creatures signaling in total darkness, creating light from within, not needing sun, not needing external source, self-sufficient, self-illuminating like consciousness, creating its own reality, its own light from darkness, from neurons, firing, patterns, creating, experience, creating, meaning, from nothing, from electrical signals, but now those signals fading, slowing, the light dimming, internal light going out, darkness returning, complete, total, restful, peaceful, the dark, where everything began, where everything returns, the ocean of unconsciousness, vast, welcoming, eternal, home, heavier, 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 almost there, almost gone, almost asleep, and the ancient seafloor scars left by vanished super tsunamis, reminders that ocean, powerful beyond measure, that forces exist beyond our control, beyond our understanding, but also reminders that everything passes, even catastrophe, even destruction. The scars fade, heal, cover with sediment, with life, time, smoothing, everything, making, even disaster, part of geology, part history, nothing, permanent, nothing, unchanging, just ocean, just time, just cycles, continuing forever, and you, part of those cycles, breathing, ocean's oxygen, drinking, ocean's water, made of ocean's elements. You are ocean, temporarily, organized, temporarily, conscious, soon, to return, to ocean, to earth, to elements, to nothing and something, all at once, heavier, 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 so heavy, cannot move, cannot think, can only be, only breathe, only drift, thump, thump, so faint, now, barely, there, barely, anything, just darkness, just ocean, just sleep, deep, deep sleep. The universe keeps turning, the ocean breathing beneath us, older than memory, deeper than thought, and will keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries. 100 ocean mysteries, looping softly, endlessly, through the night. Tonight we'll drift through the midnight zone where sunlight dies and pressure reshapes life. Bioluminescent creatures signaling in total darkness. Ancient seafloor scars left by vanished super tsunamis. There's nothing you need to do now. Just let your body sink. Heavier, heavier. Feel the mattress holding you, every muscle softening, your heartbeat slowing. Thump, thump, matching the rhythm of space itself. Shoulders melting down, jaw releasing, each breath pulling you deeper, deeper into the calm, the quiet, the dark, and we'll keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries, through the ocean, through the endless night, heavier, heavier, deeper, deeper, sleep, sleep, sleep.